Having run for 5 seasons between 1969 and 74, The Brady Bunch remains one of the most enduring popular sitcom series created. And if there's one thing The Brady Bunch taught us, it's that little goofs and mishaps are unavoidable in life. Sometimes you end up breaking your mother's treasured vase while playing basketball indoors, or maybe you just wanted to draw up some simple football plays on a chalkboard in the kitchen, only to realize you inadvertently erased the housekeeper's cherished family cake recipes. So perhaps the creators of the Brady Bunch shouldn't feel that bad about making a few minor continuity errors and revealing gaffes throughout the production of their show. In this video, we're going to discuss 13 things that you only noticed on the Brady Bunch as an adult. The Brady kids are serial pet murderers. The Brady brood often got themselves obsessed with animals and the exciting prospect of becoming pet owners. Throughout the 5-year run of the series, the Brady kids adopted many pets. The family home could easily have been transformed into a loud, smelly zoo, but puzzlingly, the Brady pets had a tendency of vanishing into thin air. In the pilot, for example, the girls have a cat named Fluffy, who for some unexplained reason doesn't make the move with the rest of the family. The boys' dog, Tiger, on the other hand, did, but eventually he too disappeared after several episodes. Not long after Tiger's unexplained departure, when Bobby sprained his ankle and had to take it easy for a while, Mike gifted him a parakeet to keep him company. That bird only made one appearance on the show and promptly faded into oblivion pretty much immediately after being introduced. Later, Bobby briefly owned a turtle named Herman and a bunch of frogs. Cindy at one point also had a few rabbits. Greg even talks about owning a rabbit of his own in one episode, and the kids won a goldfish once at a carnival. So where did all these creatures go? After their initial appearances, the pets all seemed to blink out of existence. Either this was a side effect of how the series wasn't serialized, or the Brady kids were secretly serial animal killers. The world may never know. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. And keep watching to learn what the Andy Griffith Show and the Brady Bunch had in common. Flubbing Up Names. It's not always an easy task to keep track of actors' and characters' names while in the heat of the moment. In the episode What Goes Up, while Peter is hopping about on a trampoline, Florence Henderson tells him to, quote, "Go get him, Chris." Later on in the same episode, Greg accidentally calls Jan Eve. The same kind of scenario unfolds in the episode Amateur Night, when the kids practice for a talent show and Marcia exclaims, "Come on, Chris." The Phony sliding glass window. Here's a little blunder you can notice in several episodes, but the best example comes from the episode The Big Bet. When Bobby enters the house through the sliding glass door, the curtain flutters in the air current straight through the door frame. Turns out there's no glass in the sliding glass door. In another episode, Sam the Butcher reaches his hand through the imaginary pane and no one seems to notice. Wardrobe malfunctions. Jan had a pretty significant clothing blooper in the episode The Not-So-Ugly Duckling. At the start of the episode, when Jan is explaining to her parents that her crush Clark has his sights set on Marcia, she was wearing a floral patterned shirt with a red rope of yarn tied into her hair. When she headed upstairs to confront Marcia about the situation, her hair tie suddenly turned green and her shirt magically transformed into an entirely different print. What makes this especially stand out is the fact that Mike and Carol were still wearing the same thing they were wearing downstairs. There's a minor Star Trek cameo. In the episode Kitty Carryall is Missing, Cindy's favorite baby dolls disappeared. Cindy blames Bobby, who never liked the doll in the first place. To prove his sister that he cares about her, Bobby heads off to the toy store so he can purchase her a replacement. At the beginning of the scene, a storekeeper assists a mother and child. Behind him, you can clearly spot a strange little Star Trek toy from the era, the flying rocket plane, which was made by a toy manufacturer called Remco, who produced an entire line of Star Trek toys completely unrelated to the show at all. The Bradys went camping at the Andy Griffith Show pond. In the episode A Camping We Will Go, the Brady family ventures out into the wilderness to spend a weekend camping at one of their favorite spots near a serene lake. That lake locale might look especially familiar to fans of the Andy Griffith Show. The same location was used for filming of the opening credit sequence of that iconic sitcom. The Franklin Canyon Reservoir was featured as a shooting location for several episodes of The Brady Bunch, as well as in Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek. The shape-shifting station wagon. Clothing wasn't the only thing that got swapped out halfway through an episode. In the episode The Winner, Mike and Carol brought Bobby to a live televised ice cream eating contest. When they set out for the TV station, they drove there in a blue convertible, but upon returning, they're back in the family's brown station wagon. The House of Cards held together by television magic. In the episode 54, 40, and Fight, the Brady kids constructed a house of cards Tiger, the family dog, knocked over. Can you imagine how tricky it must have been for the prop department to assemble that? Well, obviously they cheated a bit and used a little bit of adhesive, because when the cards come tumbling down, a few of them remain stubbornly stuck together. Architectural faux pas. Mike is an architect, so you'd think his house would have been pristine, right? Well, in a couple scenes, you can clearly see a few tiles are missing from the end of the raised brick entryway to the family home. Maybe the boys simply chipped them off while playing sports in the house again, or maybe the prop department forgot to apply the tiles. Those seatbelt close-ups. In 1968, Title 49 of the Motor Vehicle Safety Standard went into effect. This federal law required cars be built with seatbelts. To encourage the use of seatbelts, the Brady Bunch threw in a couple of extremely close shots of the Bradys buckling up their belts in the episode Tiger Tiger. The Bradys constantly changed their phone number. It makes sense why no one ever called Jan for a date. Her home phone number constantly was changing. In the early episode The Babysitters, Carol calls home while at a restaurant by dialing the number 222-1116 on an old-school rotary payphone. In the episode The Not-So-Ugly Duckling, Jan tells the operator her home phone number is 762-0799. In the episode Mail Order Hero, the number is changed once again to 555-6161. A Peanuts Cameo. A girl with a black wig steals the show in the episode Will the Real Jan Brady Please Stand Up? However, if you pay close attention to the party scene, in the back of the house, a young schoolgirl named Lucy is present. Her character, played by actress Pamela Ferdin, was given that name because she voiced the character Lucy in several Charlie Brown animated TV specials. Jan didn't look a thing like her aunt. You have to feel a little bad for Jan. She was always misunderstood and constantly getting screwed over. In one episode, she took a break from resenting her sister Marcia to having a little breakdown over the inevitability of her eventually growing into an ugly adult. When the family was cleaning out the house one day, Jan discovered a black and white photo of herself that she assumed was probably taken within the last couple of weeks. Perplexed by her find, Jan asked her mother about the photo. She then learned the person depicted in the picture was her Aunt Jenny. Jan then wrote her Aunt Jenny requesting a current photo of her. She ended up getting one back and discovered her Aunt Jenny is the epitome of what she finds unattractive. She had bright red hair and broad features, which obviously Jan resembled very little. The actress's likeness, who was used for the photo, was the legendary Imogen Coca. Thinking she would grow up to look like her aunt, Jan proceeded to throw a fit. The episode was meant to teach children a vital life lesson about how character is far more important than looks. But for more mature viewers, the real issue was that Eve Plum and Coca looked nothing alike. Now it's time to hear from you. Which one of these glaring inconsistencies and oddities stood out the most to you? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.